Do you ever feel like you're kind of just ramming your head against a wall and you know the right thing to do and you know what direction to move into and you know exactly what the next step is, but for some fucking weird reason, there's just like this persistent, lingering, static block. It's a blockage. It almost feels like, the door is locked. Like, you know which door to walk through, but the door is literally locked. And this sort of feeling, it seems to kind of make its way into every area of our lives that we are attempting to evolve in. Whether it's fitness, relationships, money, career, whatever area of life that you're directing your conscious attention on leveling up in. Now, I've uncovered exactly what this blockage is, and I've had a relatively decent understanding of what the true cause of this was for a few years already, but it took me going away to Thailand for about 2.5 weeks, 3.5 weeks, shit, man, to kind of step into the deeper parts of my mind and really internalize what this one thing really is. Now, out of all the techniques that I've tried, out of all the research that I've done, out of all the books that I've read, I've looked into the most extreme, ways to solve blockages, most extreme ways to step into a new identity or level up in whatever I'm thinking of. I've also looked into the dumbest, simplest ways. Oh, just take the action, just do it, whatever. And from, analyzing this entire spectrum of information, people's advice, trying a bunch of stuff on my own, applying a bunch of stuff on my own, seeing what works, what doesn't, I've kind of come to this one conclusion that the only thing that is preventing you from whatever it is that you feel like you're stuck in is you. Now, let me elaborate before you click off and be like, yo, this homie's some cliche weird dude with a fucking lineup and a mustache. What is this guy fucking talking about right now? Well, this is what I mean. So look at it this way, man. There's two parts in our mind. One part is the subconscious mind. No, the second part is the conscious mind. Now, what are these labels? First off, the conscious mind, the part of the mind that you're familiar with, making the decisions, walking around, controlling this bodysuit, or at least you think, deciding what to say, etc., etc. It's the part of our mind that we think or we believe that we're in control of. The executive motor function, stand up, get up, do this, do that. Right. Now here's the tricky part. Below the surface of the conscious part of our mind, of the conscious part of our brain more specifically, it's if you guys have ever seen like what an iceberg looks like. There's like 95% of the iceberg under the water, and then there's like a tiny ass 5% above the water. Now, this 95% is the subconscious mind. And what it actually is it's literally the entirety of you. It's your identity, it's all your beliefs, fears, deepest triggers, all of these things that you are not aware of. Or at least most people are completely unaware of what the fuck is actually going on in their mind. They're unaware of these triggers that are consistently persisting and guiding them, kind of like a robot. Whenever they experience something, they instantly get triggered, and next thing you know, they're acting in like a programmed way because from some trauma or some belief or some sort of, bullshit that happened to them in the past, they're now stuck and programmed towards making, a specific sort of decision that stems in survival or stems in protecting yourself from fear, uncertainty, danger, or at least that's what the brain thinks. Now, taking a step back before I get a little bit too complex with this, what I'm alluding to is that there's a part of our minds, there's a part of our psyche that most people are completely oblivious to. People have no fucking idea how their mind actually works. They have no idea what's stopping them. They have no idea what's getting in the way from them progressing, from their leveling up. And most importantly, they have no fucking idea why some people can get from, point A to point Z in just a few years, and then other people, it takes them, decades. It takes them decades just to level up in fitness, let's say, or, make them $10 million, or, live the dream life, or whatever it fucking is. And the one thing that is separating these two people in this example is their ability to be able to perceive their limitations and perceive their unconscious thought patterns and beliefs. All right, now take a step back. It's a mouthful. That's a lot of words. That's a lot of what the fuck is this guy saying to me right now? Well, what that actually means is it's their ability to literally sit with themselves and objectively observe what the fuck their mind is thinking. So, to put it this way, when is the last time you sat back, you just sat down, maybe lay down, maybe fucking stood up, I don't give a fuck, but that's all that you did. You just sat there and you were just hanging out. You weren't, autopilot thinking about shit. You weren't planning. You weren't trying to be productive. You weren't, your mind wasn't going off into these random thought tangents. You just sat there and you allowed your mind to kind of do its thing, right? Your mind, you just allowed it to unload and close off all of the tabs that you have opened up right now. Now, what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to right here on more or less the surface level is mindfulness. So that's the ability to just sit down and objectively observe what the fuck your mind is thinking, objectively observe your environment, what everything feels like, what the senses feel like, etc., etc. Objectively, what that means is to observe it for what it is. So to sit there and not attach any biases, not attach any perspectives, but just kind of look around and feel your reality for what it is right now, right? So that's mindfulness. That's the first step to understanding what I'm bringing this whole video towards. Mindfulness is what allows us to be able to observe the subconscious part of our mind, the unconscious thoughts, patterns, beliefs, etc., etc. These thoughts, patterns, and beliefs are what dictates our behaviors. These thoughts, patterns, or beliefs are what causes us to react in certain ways. So what that means is that if you don't make your thoughts, patterns, and beliefs completely conscious, then you're playing the same program, running the same game, thinking the same thoughts, doing the same thing over and fucking over again, expecting a different result. Now, I don't know if this is a real definition. I think it is, but that's the definition of insanity, brother. That's the definition of looping. You're going over and over and over again, doing the same thing, thinking the same thing, expecting a different result. You run into that blockage, you run into that obstacle, and instead of just taking a step back and feeling what you're feeling, thinking what you're thinking, trying to understand, trying to let your mind tell you what the reason is you're experiencing this blockage so that you can work it, integrate it, and accept it, you run into that blockage, you run into that trigger, once again, and you allow the same thing to happen to you that always fucking happens to you, which is the same reactive behavior. So when we take a step back, once again, and zoom out a little bit further, and we observe our behaviors, the reason we can't change and level up as fast as possible, the reason we can't go from 0 to fucking $100 million in 3 years as fast as possible, the reason why we can't make and create the best relationships, engineer the best lifestyle imaginable, pursue our creative passion, whatever it is that you feel like you're limited by. The only reason is our inability to actually take a step back and observe, hey, what thought pattern, what belief, or what trigger is causing me to fall into reactivity? What's causing me to be reactive? What's preventing me from taking the conscious aware initiative to achieve my goal, to step into that identity, step into that version of myself? And that is basically, long story short, an explanation on the reason why you are experiencing blockages and the reason why you feel like you're constantly, running into some sort of resistance, whether it's emotional, whether it's, I just don't feel like doing it. There's always an excuse to do it. There's always some bullshit coming up. And yeah, you can willpower your way, through all of this bullshit. You can fucking go and listen to David Goggins and Andrew Tate and whatever female influencers there are on, motivation and mindset and all that. Yeah. But motivation is a very, very short burning flame. It's like a little fucking candle. Now, when the motivation runs out, you fall back right into the path of least resistance, which is your belief systems that have been instilled into you throughout the entirety of your life. So think of it this way: that is the program that you are running. The subconscious mind, all these patterns, thought patterns, beliefs, all these excuses, this is the stuff that's like hardwired in your brain. This is the stuff that's, this is running computer that is your brain, like the very software, the iOS. This is what we're talking about. Now you can try to install apps on top of the software, motivation apps, try to fake some identity apps. You can try, whatever sort of temporary habits that you get into, or temporary routines or seasons that you get into, that you, as soon as you let go of, willpower, these sort of apps, they just fucking delete themselves, and you go back to running the default software, the default iOS or Windows or whatever it is. So the reason being is that most people, they don't actually go to update their software, their initial software, the iOS or Windows. Now, think of it this way: if you download all the fucking apps in the world, all the newest apps in the world, onto a fucking iPhone 2 iOS 1 software, are they going to work? Maybe some of them will work a little bit, not for long, but long story short, your default software, your subconscious programs, you're like legitimately the foundation on top of which you can build anything. You can build your entire identity off of. It's not solid enough. The foundation is flawed. The foundation is experiencing, the foundation just can't keep up with what you're trying to do. And that's why I'm a very, very big proponent of subconscious work. Now, what is this subconscious work? Well, subconscious work, there's many different tactics, there's many different explanations. I definitely do recommend looking this up on YouTube, because I know for a fact that there's a shit ton of people that explain it way better than me, but I explain it through my lens, and maybe my lens helps kind of bring this to light for whoever watches this in a better way than other people. So that's kind of why I'm making this video. But either way, what the subconscious work looks like is literally just gaslighting yourself and working through any sort of bullshit beliefs that are holding you back. So what that would look like is journaling in who your new identity is. For example, right? You just journal from the present tense, or even from the future. I have already made $1 million, and I'm so abundantly grateful for getting the privilege to retire my family, for example. Or in the present tense, you can be like, I'm making $3 million a month. I am so grateful. Thank you, God, for all this abundance. I am blessed. Whatever. Just examples off the top of my head. What that does is, when you're writing it down, you're literally reprogramming the identity in your subconscious, in that deeper layer program. You're reprogramming through repetition. You're telling yourself, hey, this is the new character that I'm playing. Hey, this is who I am. Because up until this point, the entirety of your life was realistic. Now, what does that mean? The school that you went to, the people that you're friends with, they're all reinforcing that old version of yourself. They're all trying to associate you back to that old version that you no longer wish to be. And what that does to you unconsciously is that it keeps you stuck in that version of yourself. So when you literally are stuck in an environment that 360 degrees, 24/7, all around you, it's reinforcing that old version of yourself that led you to be in that situation that you are in right now. Without subconscious work, it's literally like moving upstream, because everything you look at, you have some association to that old version of yourself. Driving past that gas station, driving past that, restaurant, past the McDonald's, whatever. Oh yeah, I remember me and the boys were, being retards over there smoking weed, freestyling in the car, or, walking around the mall or some shit. It's all like this constant reinforcement of your identity, even through conversations. Oh, Max. Oh, I know you like to drink, or I know you like to party. Let's go party, bro. Let's go, bro. Yeah, let's go do that. Oh, Max, you getting on 2K, or like whatever the fuck the example is, right? Whatever the example at hand is, our environments, what they end up doing is they end up actually reinforcing our past identities. And that's why this work is essential if you're trying to make any sort of aggressive and instant changes in your life. So journaling is one thing. Another thing that requires a bit of mindfulness, which is what I was talking about, like being able to take a step back, just observe your thoughts, be in the present moment, withdraw from identifying to things, withdraw from desiring, needing things, all of that sort of good stuff. That's the mindfulness. Just maybe what you can do right now is maybe you can try even just focus on your breath while you're listening to this. So don't allow your mind to go into all these random places. Just focus on your breath. And as your mind is going to go automatically to all these random places, you just bring yourself back and ground yourself back to your breath. But anyways, what I'm leading up to with this whole mindfulness explanation is something that I'm a very, very big proponent of, something that's helped me out a lot in multiple stages of my life and is currently helping me out shit ton is self-hypnosis. Now, what is this? Self-hypnosis is audios that are designed to actually imprint your subconscious mind, bypass your conscious mind. So conscious mind is kind of like the guardian of the subconscious. When you let your guard down, when you're in a relaxed state, when you are no longer constantly thinking and barraging your mind with shit, when you're kind of in that, like a flow state, like a focused, relaxed awareness, when you're in that sort of state and you play certain audios that affirm certain words and affirm certain ideas, like, for example, mine would be like, I am a great leader. I take responsibility for my actions. I take care of the people that I love. I am abundant in my energy. I am abundant in my time and in my resources because I understand that they always come back to me. Like, if you just listen to stuff like that, you're literally rewiring the entirety of the deepest parts of your mind to shift your identity into that version of yourself who, let's say, made that $10 million, for example, before you even make the $10 million. Now, when you do that, it's basically impossible for you to not make that $10 million because now you've programmed yourself to become that person that makes $10 million through listening to certain things, through journaling, through figuring out what sort of blockages are there in your mind. Maybe yours is fitness, maybe yours is relationships, maybe yours is getting better at talking to people. Whatever blockages there are, subconscious work literally bypasses all of that resistance, and it bypasses all of the bullshit that you're telling yourself, all of the excuses, and it hits the nail right on the fucking head. And what that's going to do to you is, over time, you're literally going to rewrite your own story. And over time, you're literally going to step into a new avatar, a new character. Now, with all that being said, you can't completely unwire if you don't back it up with proof. So in my case, I'll do some abundance or authenticity sort of self-hypnosis and journaling, and once I'm done with those, I'll go and I'll take action on that. I'll go and I'll be myself and talk to some random person and be myself. I'll go and I'll work on the business, work on the smartest thing that I possibly can inside of the business. But now I don't have these crazy limitations on what to work on. Now I no longer have this crazy sort of resistance, oh, I'm not gonna get up, I'm not gonna go talk to these people and be myself, I'm not gonna go and work on the business, I'm not gonna go take care of what needs to be done. That shit is fucking gone because I'm literally brainwashing myself in all of these examples that I'm giving you to be the person that I'm working towards becoming. It's trippy, but be, do, have. That's the whole point of this video. Subconscious work allows you to be the person before you do the action, before you have the result or the reward. And with all of that being said, I'm going to be definitely posting some self-hypnosis, maybe linking different videos like that, linking some basic journaling or meditation tutorials, that sort of shit. Probably in the description. I don't see why not. But if you stayed and listened to me for 22 minutes, please leave a comment and let me know what you would like for me to talk about next. And yeah, that's kind of the sauce. That's the sauce. That's what I wanted to share with you today. God bless.